Welcome back to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I told you yesterday that there was palpable tension within the country because people were waiting to hear what Raila has in store for them. The Kenya Kwanza team had been deluded to think that Raila was chickening out, that Raila was not serious about the mass action. What I like about Raila is one thing. He will give you time. He will give you some days ultimatum to rethink about your stand. And this is what he did. He gave this government a fortnight, and they thought it was a joke. Today, after the declaration of the beginning of mass action, pressure is piling on this administration to make a U-turn, to listen to Raila Odinga. And I can assure you, listening they must, because they cannot afford to do without Raila Odinga. From the successive governments, from Moi, Kibaki, and Uhuru Kenyatta, all of them swallowed humble pie, and they had to bow down to listen to Raila. I'm telling you, this is what will happen. You see, William Samoei Ruto has always been a very wise politician, very crafty and cunning. Little did he know that where his wisdom ends, that is where Raila's wisdom starts. Raila is more experienced with the Kenyan politics. And whatever William Ruto is trying, he sees it long before William Ruto executes it. So today, William Ruto has been advised, because after the declaration of the mass action, several people were giving their opinion, and most of them are telling William Ruto to look twice, to think twice about Raila Odinga. One of the people who spoke is none other than Mutahi Ngunyi. This is what Ngunyi said. This is what Mutahi Ngunyi is saying. He was telling Ruto, "Dear Ruto, what this country needs now is leadership, not politics. Leadership from you, and leadership from Babaman to me, Raila Odinga. You have half the country, and he has half the country. Be the bigger man, and M-Pesa bishops will not give you this counsel." So Mutahi Ngunyi is very open. He's telling William Ruto that where we are now, it is beyond politics. It is not about going to the masses and telling them that we cannot be intimidated, we will not listen to threats, we don't want handshake. It's beyond that. Because if you remember, when Raila Odinga first indicated that they would be going for a mass action, you did not know it would reach this end. And the Kenya Kwanza team kept on spitting very unkind words to Raila Odinga. And Ngunyi is telling William Ruto that whatever I'm giving you, you will never be told by the M-Pesa bishops. He means the clergy that surrounds William Ruto, those who should have done what Mutahi Ngunyi is doing now. Because I maintained, if you have been following this channel, that the bigger role of the clergy was supposed to unite this country, to unite the Raila camp and the Ruto camp. Because one of the biggest strengths that Raila has and Ngunyi is talking about is the fact that he's got half of this nation. In fact, if you ask me, Raila has 3/4 of this nation, and Ruto has 1/4. And if you think I'm lying, just open that server and you will know that Raila has more than half of this country. So Ngunyi Mutahi is telling William Samoei Ruto to stop politicking, to overlook the clergy around him, to overlook people like his deputy, who's got a very strong stand that we cannot talk to anyone, because when we have the power, it is like we've pocketed the nation inside our pockets, and so we cannot listen to anyone. I know many of you and most of you don't want to hear anything to do with talking and handshake and all this. I'll tell you this for free, and I know you will criticize me. There will never be handshake. That is in my opinion. But a round table talk is inevitable, ladies and gentlemen. The reason it is inevitable, already this scared government is looking for William Samoei Ruto. They tried it through Uhuru Kenyatta. They sent his brother. It did not work because this administration has really persecuted Uhuru and his family, and so he was not willing even to engage them. But I know with the time he might. They will talk. I know most of you do not want to hear anything about talking because you think that if Raila talks to the government, he might be compromised. Because it has been said all over and over again that the reason why Raila lost some of his supporters in the last elections is because he went to bed with the administration. You know, every government has got some baggage at their back, and so Raila helped them to carry it. Just look at what is happening now. Massive corruption, high cost of living and all that. Now, if Raila would go and shake hands with William Ruto and he starts defending this government, then people, those who have been following him, will leave him, will abandon him. And this is exactly what happened last time. Because there was no way Raila was going to defend a government that he was already friendly with. People will talk, and the talks will be about the people. Because I have mentioned earlier that Raila has got people who woke up very early in the morning, voted for him, and they believe they won. From where I sit, I believe he won. And I repeat, open the server to prove me wrong. The reason why people must talk, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. One, Kenya is not about an individual. And Kenya is not about the president and the deputy president. Kenya is for all of us. All of us pay taxes. Over the 8 million people who voted for Raila pay taxes, and they want equitable distribution of resources. They want equitable appointments, because this government is a company. Those are not my words, but the words of our deputy president, that this is a company and those who voted have got shares. So if you did not vote for this government, then you are not a shareholder. And this is the reason why Raila must compel them. They will look for Raila, and any talks will go around appointments and equitable distribution of resources. People will talk. Number two, this has been politics. William Ruto, in as much as he's saying he's a president, Raila Amolo Odinga, the Azimio leader, is a politician. And what William Ruto was doing was politics, to humiliate Raila politically. He had declared that he was going to take Raila back to Bondo. To make good his threats, he started buying all the Azimio supporters, those from the Jubilee, from the ODM, meeting them in State House and taking photos. Luckily enough for Raila Odinga, William Ruto did not take the people, the masses with him. You can call a few MPs and meet them in State House, but an MP will not go with an entire constituency. He can have a few people whom he has bribed to go and make noise that, you know, Raila, you don't want people to meet William Ruto. And this is what angered Raila. It was a show of might. He wanted to show Raila that I am the big man, my politics overrides yours, I am here to annihilate you politically. And so Raila sat down, reorganized himself, and looked at this young man who started his politics just the other day in 1997, when Raila was already a Trojan horse in politics. So Raila wants William Ruto to bow down, to come and accept that Raila is a king. Raila is an enigma in politics. I can assure you that at the back of Ruto's mind, he knows very well that he must go and lie low and tell Raila, even indirectly, that I agree, you are my senior. Because what has been happening is that William Ruto wants to show that he's the senior most politician, his tricks and theatrics can work. But I will assure you that this will not work. So the show of might is at the center of everything. Number 3, things must be done the right way. I can assure you, because if things are not done the right way, Raila is not going to give them peace. Already they have constituted a panel that will be interviewing Kenyans to occupy the vacancies of the IEBC commissioners. Raila will not relent until things are done the right way. And I know they will come so that they have a round table talk. Intimidation must stop. Madharau lazima iishe. There is no way someone can take your votes, someone can take your victory, and then he still looks down on you. Madharau lazima iishe. And this time round I can assure you that it must end. Because mahali Raila amekanyaga sio pazuri. Ladies and gentlemen, I know most of you want Raila to head to State House, but there are security questions around it. If you look at the history of revolutions, people will always march to State House and they will never quit the president, but many will die. Raila Amolo Odinga has never wanted to soil his hands with blood. And this is the reason why he goes slow on this. And I know most of you really want Raila to take the bull by its horns. But one thing that you need to know, and you may not like it, Raila is a father, Raila is a grandfather. Raila is a politician who has carried over 8 million votes at the back of his mind. If he's not careful, then he can march to State House, lose over 100 or 200,000 people, and becomes the president. That is very easy. But I know he wants all of his supporters to go to Canaan with him. That is the funniest part around it, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, he can march to State House, lose 500,000, will remain with another 7 million. But that is one thing that Raila does not want. And I know most of you really want him to just march to State House with songs of jubilation. But Raila must be very careful. He knows what is happening. So very soon, and I know even today, there are efforts to meet Raila. If you are to meet Raila today, what would you advise him to tell William Ruto when they meet? Share with me on the comment section. And this is my take.